Alright, hey guys, 0101. Hopefully the audio on this video is a little bit louder than it was on the last one. Alright, so, past couple of videos had to do with serial communication. So this is the one that I left you guys off with. I modified it a little bit, flipped the pulse generator around the other side, so this is now 4 wide. This right here is just a signal to start the whole process, that way I could check it over here. And then I also revamped this over here, so the main portion of this is 4 blocks wide, and then you've got this little loop right here for the pulse generator on this side. Yeah, it's still basically built pretty much the same. So this video is actually not about this, but it's about a different type of serial communication, and that one is when you sync it to a clock signal. I already made a video of one of these, and the encoder and the decoder were massive, and I was challenged to make one that was smaller. And I can say that I have done that. Alright, now this line right here, this blue line, just ignore that. That's just to start the whole process. So the clock signal is going to be set over here. It starts with a pulse signal that gets put into this little clock right here, and then it takes an input off of the clock and then puts it into another pulse generator, and that just gives me a nice clean crisp clock signal, and then that goes through this entire thing. Now the challenge was to build it in such a way that it incorporated this. Unfortunately, because of the type of serial communication this is, that's not really possible. However, unlike my last video, I managed to get this one done without pistons. So this one is 100% pistonless. Now, the way it works is basically the same as the other one, so if you understood how that one works, then you'll understand how this one works. What this is doing is this is your clock signal going through here, and it goes all the way through to the other side. If I can drop down, if it'll let me drop. There we go. So as you can see, it goes all the way through to the other side down there. The reason why I have the clock turned off right now is because it sort of reduces the frames per second that the game can process at. So there's that. Okay, so now how it works. You're going to have your serial signal coming in through here, your clock signal I should say. And then this right here, these two torches along with these blocks here and that block there, is just a really fancy AND circuit. So what this is doing is when the clock signal is 1 and when my input, which is over here, is also 1, and this is actually controlled through an RS NOR latch. So when you clip this guy on, this guy goes on, stays on until it gets reset. So when your clock signal is 1 and when your start signal is 1, then you'll get a successful AND signal going through, and then it will send the signal over to here. Now let's see. Okay. Now this AND signal here is actually branching off into two different places. The first one, it goes into this secondary AND, and then this one will catch the second clock pulse. So this one right here will catch the first one, this one right here will catch the second one, and then this is all through RS NOR latches here. So it'll go on and stay on until it gets reset. And then so on and so forth. This is the third, the fourth, and the fifth clock signals that will get captured here. Now this is for 4 bits of data, but the first one, as in the other video, is the signal data. It's the one that tells the other parts of your system, hey, I'm going to be sending data, so get ready to receive, basically. Okay. So that was the very first thing that I built. The way I did it before was I had pistons and a bunch of memory things, and it was a lot of stuff. And it took up a lot of space, and it was just all bad and no good. I mean, it worked, so I guess it was good that way. Anyways, next part. Once your AND signal gets through over here. Now this is your start signal, so that one actually doesn't have all this cool stuff into it, but this one does. So let's see. what's going to happen is it'll pull the data. So this is off of the AND gate here, and this goes into the RS NOR latch. It also goes over to here, and then up onto this guy right here, which then goes up into here, which is another AND gate. Now this AND gate is tied to the user data. So this is the second bit right here. So what this is basically doing is when we're on the third clock signal, everything is locked in and good to go. So when that is a 1 and then your data is a 1, then this AND signal will send out a 1, and then it'll send a signal through to the rest of this. And now from here to here, this is a pulse generator, and then that is actually going to go through onto here. Now I put this here so that way you can see it work when I actually get it going. And then this is going to drop down onto here, and this is a pulse modulator. So this just takes the simple pulse that goes through and it extends it. So it takes a 1 tick pulse and makes it a 4 tick pulse. So 2 ticks here, 2 ticks here. That's how it works. And then we're going to be taking the data off of the pulse modulator, and then this is your timing. And then this is what syncs the pulse that comes off of each data bit, if there is a data bit there. And that is what syncs it to the clock signal here, and then this is your actual serial line right here. So signal, because this one needs to be modulated in order for the detector to pick it up, I had to put this on there too, so then I had to change the timing around a little bit. But I got it all figured out, and so now we've got 5 different sections. Each one is 5 blocks wide. So you can assume that it's 5 blocks per bit that you want to put on here, and this is extendable as far as you want to take it. And then just make sure that when you do put these extenders on your serial line, that you are going to have to. I didn't have to on this one because the pulse is close enough. But as you go farther and farther out, your pulses are going to get a little bit different, and it's going to start to get off sync. So you're going to have to modify your timing here in order to make sure that everything is still synced. Now this is my detector. This is just a simple AND gate right here. I have the clock signal going through here, and then what's going to happen is the clock signal is too quick for both of these to be on at the same time. This is 4 ticks, this is no ticks. And so when the clock signal goes through, this isn't going to pick up anything. However, because I modulated the data, when those signals come through, they will stay on long enough for these both to pick them up, and then this torch right here will turn on to indicate that there's data going through. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get it started. Alright, so now we have our clock signal going through. Now this is where I have the start button, but I just have it looped around. And then for I don't know, for you guys to see, I've got all of these set to 1. So you should be seeing on the detector over there 5 pulses. So let's see if it works. Now as you can see with the detector, these are not long. The pulse is not long enough for these both to be on at the same time, which is why that doesn't go on. But when there's data encoded and it's modulated, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is all 6 bits of data, or 5 bits of data, wow. And you just saw that you get a little tiny pulse off of each one, and that little tiny pulse is more than enough for me to be able to take this off of the serial line and then decode it. And then what I added onto this, which the other one did not have, is this is actually self-resetting. So these are all a bunch of RS NOR latches. The resets are on these 2 blocks here, and then these 2 blocks here, these 2 blocks here, these 2 blocks here, blah blah, so on and so forth. Now what I have this pulling off of is this is the final data bit. So when your clock signal and this guy is all together and it's at the end of everything, then it'll send the signal through over here all the way over to the front. I put these in here because I don't want this line to go up onto these lines, because it creates a loop and you don't really want to loop. So the reason why I have it going all the way back to the beginning instead of starting back over here and then working backwards, which would have been easier, is that this guy needs to be reset first before any of these get reset, because otherwise these are just going to start going off again, and you don't want that to happen. So reset goes all the way back to the front. It resets the start bit and the first data bit at the same time, and then it just pushes through the rest of the way. Alright, so quick recap. Clock signal into an AND gate. The AND gate is then controlled by an RS NOR latch. The output of the AND gate goes up to another AND gate, and it goes to the next RS NOR latch, and then that just repeats on and on and on. And then your data gets ANDed with the top AND gate, or input. I'm sorry, I really suck at talking right now. Anyways, the output of this goes into another pulse generator, and then that goes into a pulse modulator, and then that goes into the syncing and timing, which then finally goes onto the serial line. So there it is. If you have questions, go ahead and feel free to leave them. Now see what I mean about the frame rate being changed? Because I mean, when you have that clock signal going through, I mean that's a lot of stuff that has to get updated, so it just slows things down. Alright, so this encoder here is probably, I don't know, like a quarter of the size of my first one. So this is definitely a space improvement. I feel that there are still some areas that can be improved. I'm not going to go and tear it all apart and start over again to try to figure those out, but for now, this works. And yeah. So yeah, serial encoding onto a clock signal, and that's it. Alright. I'm hungry. I'm gonna get some food. So you know, if you have questions, go ahead and ask. If you have any challenges for me, you want me to try to figure out how to do something better or faster or whatever, go ahead and leave them, and I will get to them whenever I have time. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I guess I'll see you next time. Later.